In the last few videos about spirituality, I've talked about what it is and what it isn't, but there's a big piece of what it is, like the biggest piece, that I haven't mentioned at all. And that's because it's the hardest part, and in my opinion, quite shockingly, the least discussed. So I'll tell you a secret, right? In my early 20s, I was living in Israel. I'd spent my entire life part of the religious Jewish community, and I was carrying this secret around. And the secret was, I had no idea who God is. Like, what is the divine? And I figured everyone else must know. Everyone else must understand why we're doing all these things we're doing. And I still didn't really know who the Creator is. And I had this concept, but it didn't feel right. Right? So if I'm praying every day, who am I praying to? And why isn't anybody talking about it? Is it so obvious to everyone else and just not to me? But I was so embarrassed that I didn't know when everyone else clearly must know. It must be that every observant Jewish person knows exactly who they're praying to and what and why all the time, or they wouldn't be praying, right? And sometimes in the course of prayer and observance of mitzvot, I would feel that divine connection and I would be like, oh yeah, this is the thing. But so much of the time I wasn't, and I was waiting for the moments when I was feeling it and trying to calculate what made it happen the most. But if you don't really know who you're praying to or why you're observing what you're observing, it's a little bit shallow. It's a little bit meaningless, and you want the meaning to be there, but I didn't feel like I could just Google, explain God. And as I said, I was too embarrassed to ask. And walking the streets of the old city of Jerusalem, I saw a flyer for educators to come to a program. And I was an educator already, and educating people, but in Jewish education and still not knowing, well, it's pretty, embarrassing. You can't teach math if you don't know what numbers are, but how can you teach Judaism if you don't know what God is? And so I went to this workshop for educators, and it was life-changing. And the whole introduction was understanding who God is. And according to the presenter, to the educator, I was not alone. And that was very reassuring to me. And we studied many different things from the presenter. The institute we were learning at was called Israelite, and the educator is Rabbi David Aaron. And it was amazing to finally understand what it's all about. And I want to offer you to do that with me. So I am doing a book club of the book that Rabbi Aaron wrote that explained it all to me, called Singing God. And you can read it in your own time if you want. You can join me in book club, which will be starting in a few weeks, to gain insight. And I'll make summaries of the chapters in case you don't have time to read it and you don't have time to join a book club, to get little pieces to understand the big picture. Because if you can't see and understand the divine, well, what are you doing? So this is to get the foundation, the meaning, and what it's all about. I encourage you to join me. The book is out of print because, as I said, it was 20 years ago that this all went down for me. But the author, Rabbi David Aaron, has kindly shared a PDF of the book. So you can either buy a used copy, get a Kindle copy, or ask me for the PDF. But I really hope, whatever you do, whether you join me in the videos, in the readings, whatever it is, that you're able to find that divine and understand what it is and find the meaning in your life.